What is up, Cowboys Cave, Cowboys Nation, Cowboys fans, haters, and fans? How is everybody doing on this beautiful Thursday night? Um, uh, I say beautiful. We're fresh off a blizzard here in Nebraska. Your boy over here went from spring one day to winter the next day, blizzardous conditions. It was pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty bad. It was one day it was wearing shorts, the next day it was bundled up, and it got so bad there was power outages and people were getting called in from work. They were closing down places, which was cool. I got a snow day. I got an adult snow day. That's always pretty fun. But yeah, man, it's it was a good time. I guess being off, getting to get off of work a little bit early. I don't want to don't notice right now, but I had to rep the brand. I know this is the Cowboys show and it's Cowboys Cave, but tonight is Wreckham, Texas Tech. As the NCAA March Madness has officially begun. First big upset of the day, McNeese State taking out the number 5 seed Clemson. I am not gonna lie. Actually, I did choose that on one of my brackets, but not the bracket for the Cowboys Cave where it's all for some money. Everybody's got money. There was 2 money pots that I'm in, and I did not pick McNeese, but there was another bracket that I filled out that I did pick them. But it's that time again, y'all. It's March Madness. It's one of my favorite times of the year, man. It's just constant, nonstop action. And it looks like I'm having some internet issues here. Constant action, you guys. And what's going on, everybody? It's in the chat. How's everybody doing tonight? Vince, I see you. Let's see. I'm trying to fix something here. It looks like I always seem to be having some internet issues. Always seem to have that. I've been trying to fix this and get with the internet company and get this fixed, but man, it's just been one problem after another. Anyway, yeah, man. So how is everybody doing tonight, man? How's everybody feeling? How's everybody are you guys playing the brackets? Hit me up in your chat. Let me know if you guys are on the brackets, if you guys are playing the brackets. What's up, Carl? How you doing as a resident Eagle fan? So I'm going to get into this thing here. We're going to kind of, Mike is gone. He's on vacation. He's, I'm running the ship. He's actually on a ship, sipping some Mai Tais. I talked to him the other day. He said he was playing. He was gambling. He said that he got up big. Then he said he went down and lost it all. And he's back kind of at ground zero. So, we'll kind of see where he ends up, man. But that's kind of how it goes, man. You win some, you lose some, but he's having a good time, man. Representing the Cowboys brand as always on a cruise ship. You see Mike, he's always decked out. USA Soccer is on SoCal. SoCal, you know about the only one I know that watches soccer. You're watching soccer right now. It's March Madness, man. I'm not going to be watching soccer. I'm not a soccer fan. I think I've told you this before. I can't get into soccer, and I just can't. I don't know about you guys in the chat. If anybody else is soccer fans, if you are, apologies up front. But I just can't do it. Especially around this time, man. It's March Madness for me. It's nothing but college basketball. It's wall to wall every single day for the next. I mean, it's Thursday, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, it's college basketball. So we out. We just lost to Panama. Okay. What's up, Rick? How you doing, man? And Carl, no, Mike did not get to go to get no Eagles tattoo, man. Wishful thinking on your part. But listen. So I'm going to get right into this thing. I talked about, obviously I mentioned about the March Madness. If you guys have brackets, drop it in the chat and let me know who you guys picked to win it all. I'm curious on who you guys have. Maybe some of you guys don't watch college basketball, but I feel like a lot of people still fill out the brackets just to have something to do around this time. You know what I mean? Now, you don't have to know college basketball to pick them. There's many people that claim to be experts that still flame out, and most people's brackets are up in smoke within the first weekend. So if you'll be able to make it past then, my team, Texas Tech, they played a night at 9. playing UNC Wilmington. 15.5-point favorites. I feel like we should probably cover that and win handily. And if they do, I plan on making a trip to Wichita, Kansas on Saturday to go watch them live and in person. For me, it's Dallas Cowboys, and then it's Texas Tech basketball. I am a diehard Texas Tech basketball fan. I always have been. I watched them play in the national championship back in 2019 when they lost to Virginia in overtime. I was there, saw it live. I went earlier this year and saw them get their second ever win in Allen Foghouse, beat Kansas for the second time in program history. Huge win for that team. Got a really good, gritty team this year. Love the coach, love the talent. Cully says Duke. You got Duke winning. Hey, Duke's not bad, man. That Cooper Flagg injury was a big thing, but they got him back. And if they can keep him healthy and keep that ankle 100%, Duke's got a good chance to win it. Houston, I think, is another good team out of the Big 12. I think that's a legit shot to win that thing. Kansas and Arkansas is coming down to the wire. I actually picked Arkansas, I think, in that one. I picked them to upset Kansas. So not be surprised if the Florida Gators win it. I could see Florida win it. They're also a pretty high seed. I like Houston. Listen, I like Texas Tech's chance to win it all, man. The last time they went to the NCAA championship was in 2019. They had the number 3 seed then. Really gritty team, played good defense, and they were really good at shooting the three, which this team is one of the best teams in the nation in terms of three-point shooting, which is what you need a lot of times to win. You need a good offense, as well as to play some good defense. But let's get into some Cowboys talk. I know that's what you guys came here for. You didn't come to hear me talk about NCAA basketball the whole night. Although this is going to be kind of a loosely formatted show, we're going to have some fun. We're going to kind of, we might switch up the topics. Hell, I mean, SoCal's came in here popping off already about U.S. soccer. And I'm sorry to hear that they lost to Panama. Listen, if the United States has competed in anything, obviously, I'm going to root for them, even though I don't watch it a whole lot. Michigan State coach, Izzy and the tourney. Yeah, Michigan State, always a good tournament team. But, yeah, we're going to keep this thing loose tonight. If you guys have some things that you want to touch on, talk about, let me know, man. I'm going to be depending on you guys, the chat tonight, to kind of keep things popping, keep things flowing, and keep things going, man. As always, I don't have my glasses on, man, and my sight, I swear, is getting worse. So these the chat is itty bitty small. So if I don't see something you posted, commented on, don't take it personal. I promise you, I'm not ignoring you. Omario Hampton, talk at 12. What do you think? Listen, Hampton is actually flying up the boards. What was once a guy who was looked at as a second round pick, something that the Cowboys could look at into the second rounds, is now getting a lot of buzz, man, at that number 12 pick. There's a lot of people that are saying Gentry will be gone. The Cowboys will make, Hampton that pick at running back at number 12. I don't know. For me, I kind of felt like if Hampton is the guy that you're targeting in the first round, that would kind of be a trade back scenario. Trading back into the mid to late teens, I could see picking him up maybe 18, 19-ish type pick. And it's not that I don't like Hampton. I think he'll be a good running back, a productive running back. I just think that you can get him a little bit later than the 12th round, than the 12th overall pick in the draft. And, I think that, honestly, what I've been thinking is that, and I've said this, is that I think that the Dallas Cowboys should go wide receiver in the first round. I really do. Unless they're going to get, a significant playmaker, veteran out there, which I just don't really see that out there right now, that's going to come in and be that, there's some guys out there that could come in and be a number 2. You got Amari Cooper still out there. I don't think that's happening. I think that bridge is burned. I think that's behind us. We've got Stephon Diggs coming off an ACL injury. I don't really know that I want that. Not to mention, I just feel like he's kind of been a little bit of a diva, and not really a guy that team friendly. I wouldn't say necessarily team friendly, maybe locker room friendly. Doesn't really seem like his teammates are too sad to see him go. and that the teams that have had him, I mean, the Houston Texans just had him for 1 year, and they were definitely not interested in bringing him back when he said that he wanted to void out the remainder of his contract so that he could become a free agent. Houston did not fight that at all, granted that request, and was happy to send him out the door. I don't really know. He's the guy that I'm wanting. Keenan Allen would be an interesting name. I know we've talked about Lockett. Lockett would be more like a 3 guy for me. Tyler Lockett, me and Mike have touched on that. Keenan Allen would be an interesting guy that I think probably could come back maybe and have a good season and be possibly that number 2 you're looking for if you're not going to draft a wide receiver in this draft. Because I think that he's still got talent and I think he's still got shelf life left in him. I think he was put in a pretty bad situation last year in Chicago. Play calling wasn't great. Coaching, not great in quarterback play, and Caleb Williams really not great. I know SoCal, that's a USC guy for him, and SoCal is going to ride for Caleb, and that's fine. I get it. They talked about SoCal. Mentioned a lot about that, that offensive line not protecting him well, and I get it. They did not protect him very well. Chicago definitely needs an offensive line, but still not great play out of your number 1 overall pick that, a lot of people thought going into the offseason. A lot of the football analysts and guys were talking about Chicago being that upper echelon, that they were going to jump into a playoff spot. That did not happen. And, and I think a lot of that had to do with there just wasn't great play out of Caleb Williams. He didn't have a great year, didn't have a great line, but he had some weapons. You had Rome Odunze on that team, Keenan Allen. They had some weapons across that offense that people thought that Chicago was going to be able to turn that corner and get into the playoff spot and maybe one of the lower round seeds, but still would be able to get a playoff spot with that offensive talent combined with your number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams. He just did not play up to the number 1 overall standard. I think that a lot of people, I'd say that even Chicago fans, GM, front office, I think they would all say that he had a disappointing season compared to what they were expecting from him. But then again, you got lofty expectations heaped onto a number 1. But if they took Hampton at 12 to answer that question, look, I'm not going to flip out over that. We need a running back. We need talent at the running back position. I think right now we don't really have that. I do like the Javonte Williams. I do like that, but I like him more as a short yardage, goal line, red zone type back. Obviously, don't look at him as carrying the load. And then you've got a Miles Sanders who, can be a productive running back, but I'm not looking at him to be my number 1. The thing that scares me the most is that the Cowboys having, got those guys that they got at the running back position scares me a little bit to think that maybe they might think that those 2, Williams and Sanders, might be a duo that they can get production out of, using them as a 1-2 back, maybe mixing in a Deuce Vaughn and it's the 3rd Hunter Lipke in some short yardage situations as well. That scares me because I don't think that's something that works. I would much rather take a guy like Hampton at number 12 than to depend on the current running back room that we have. I think running back and wide receiver are your 2 biggest glaring needs on this offense. I know a lot of people tend to talk about, the offensive line and say, that the offensive line is the biggest need. And while I think that offensive line is not great, I think offensive line is better than a lot of people think. I think, Chris, I think Tyler Guyton, I think he gets better with a second year under his belt, a little bit more time to develop. I think that, when we came into this season and they drafted Tyler Guyton, I think it was unfair of the Cowboys to put him in the position that they did, to be honest with you. I don't think that I won't say that he was a bust, but I think he got picked a little bit high for his talent level. I think the Cowboys got a little bit conceited, or a little bit big-headed maybe over what they have been able to do with offensive linemen in the past. Guyton was a pretty raw prospect. A lot of talent, a lot of upside, but he was raw. And they just threw him out to the wolves, and it just didn't really work. And some guys need a little bit more time to develop. So I'm not ready to throw in the towel on Guyton. I think he's still going to be pretty good. And I like what we have. I like Hoffman. I like Cooper Beebe. I like Tyler Smith. Obviously, we know he's a beast. Terrence Steele's the guy that I think that we kind of gotta throw the towel in on. I think Terrence Steele has not played well. He's been bad. It's been a turnstile, and I think that the Cowboys kind of got to do something about him. My son and retired to avoid the Raiders. My son said Gallup retired to avoid the Raiders. Gallup. Who is Gallup? I like Cooper Beebe and Tyler Smith. I heard today that maybe the Cowboys will trade back to the 20th pick and get Sutton, and Denver gets the 12th pick overall. I would do that in a heartbeat. If we're talking, as long as we're not talking about giving up the number 12 overall and only getting Sutton, but if we trade from 12 back to 20, we get Cortland Sutton, and then we still have the 20th pick in the first round, I would do that. Absolutely. Very young, still a young receiver. I just, I would find it kind of hard though to believe that the Cowboys would do that, just because I think that, and that's what I thought somebody said was Gallup in there. Sorry about that. I'll touch on that again. I think with Cortland Sutton though, I just can't see the Broncos doing that though. You've got a really young quarterback in Bo Nix who played really well, and it seemed like him and Cortland Sutton had a pretty good connection. So I don't know why you would give that connection up at this point in time, unless they're looking to move on. Cortland Sutton obviously is going to be getting paid very soon, because I think his rookie deal will be up maybe next year. So unless they're looking to get younger at that wide receiver spot and maybe draft a guy like a Ted McMillan at number 12, and move on from Sutton just because of the price tag, the impending price tag, and they want to get cheaper, that's possible that they could do that. Yes, I am not a Terrence Steele fan. Yeah, he's up and down. Absolutely, Terrence Steele is one of those guys that needs to go. Dallas needs to go get Genty. Here's the thing, Steve, with Genty. I don't think he's going to be there. There's a lot of drafts and mock drafts that are saying that he will not be there at 12. So I think that's where the Mario Hampton at number 12 has started to kind of pick up steam. It's because a lot of people are saying that that he won't be there, that Genty won't be there, and I'm starting to believe that. A lot of the mock drafts that I was doing earlier on in the season, they would have Genty there at that spot, at that 12 spot. I've done, I do mock drafts just for the hell of it. I probably do 3 or 4 a day just for the hell of it, just to see kind of where chips are falling, who PFF maybe has moving up the board. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's accurate, but I haven't had Genty fall to the Cowboys at 12 in probably about 2-3 weeks. Genty has been going with inside that top 10. So I feel like that he will be gone at that point. As somebody said, Genty to the Raiders, the Bears. Absolutely. I think he'll be gone. So it's not that I wouldn't draft Ashton Genty. It's not that I would be scared to draft him at number 12. I just think he'll be gone. So I think that a guy who a lot of people were talking about, is obviously Mario Hampton's getting mentioned about. Ted McMillan. I've been seeing him fall down to that 12th overall pick in a lot of drafts. I wouldn't hesitate on taking him. I think he'd immediately come in and be that number 2, next to CeeDee Lamb. I think we do need a wide receiver opposite CeeDee Lamb, whether we go out and address that during the veteran, free agency, if we're going to go out and get somebody there, or whether maybe we're going to go out and get a guy via trade. Like somebody had mentioned earlier with Cortland Sutton from Denver, that being a possibility. So if Genty is not there, then I'd definitely go wide receiver. Only Genty is worth getting. Yeah, I agree. And which is why I said when they've talked about, Mario Hampton at 12, I wouldn't slam my head against the brick wall over that pick. But I think that that would be a trade back scenario for me. If he's really the guy that you're targeting, I think he's a trade back scenario. Now, one of the things that I did want to touch on and talk about is, is, Micah Parsons and the deal that's been getting kind of talked about. There's been some traction on this thing. Parsons' brother had mentioned that things were going really good. He had a really positive tweet mentioned about Jerry being a genius when it comes to terms of negotiating. Which if you follow Parsons' brother on X at all, you'll know that he hasn't always said the most glowing things about Jerry Jones, but he kind of did a little bit of a 180 there, which made you think that maybe there was some things that we don't really know about yet. He does inside information from his brother. But there was a tweet by Calvin Watkins that said, "Do we have a Parsons problem?" And for those that said that, and then there was attack on Cowboys. AOC had come out and said that a deal was getting close to being done. Some kind of inside information from sources he trusted. I don't know who those sources were. I don't know if it was Parsons' brother or not. But then Jane Slater came out and contradicted that and said, no, there have been talks, but the Cowboys are not close right now. They wouldn't classify those talks as being close. Look, the last thing I'm worried about right now, though, is me personally, is Micah Parsons' deal getting done, because I think that deal gets done. Here's the thing that bugs me a little bit with the whole Micah Parsons contract is that we know Micah Parsons is about to get the bag. He's going to get the bag, right? I think what bugs me a little bit about that is the way that the Cowboys go about it, right? You just take your top, take your top pass rusher and add $5 million on top of that and just pay Micah Parsons. It's really not that difficult of a deal. I mean, unless Micah Parsons is legit out here saying that he wants to make a hometown deal and he wants to take a little bit less, and there's some type of semantics in terms of the years being between a 3 to 4 year deal versus a 4 to 5 year deal, maybe the signing bonus, unless there's something like that they're really just trying to iron through and figure out and work through. I mean, Parsons is going to be the highest paid defensive player. And in my opinion, he'll be the highest paid non-quarterback in the league unless he agrees to take a little bit less, which I will say he has talked about that he would take a little bit less if the Dallas Cowboys would do a little bit more in, free agency. Like, hey, I'll take a little bit less if we can use that money to bring in some talent here in this free agency period, which, as of right now, the Cowboys still got quite a bit of money on the books. They've got a lot of money on the books right now. They still have plenty of money to go out and spend. They are far from being broke. And for those of you that don't know, there's been a lot of people that have come out and said, well, if Dallas signs Micah Parsons, well, that's what that extra money is for. That's not actually true. Signing Micah Parsons to a deal will actually free up in the neighborhood of, I believe it's an extra $14 million. Not 100% sure on that, but I do know it's double digit. It's double digit millions that they would free up by signing Micah Parsons to a long-term deal. So, look, the Cowboys got some money to spend in free agency. The question is, where are they going to spend it, and who are they going to go after, and and who's left out there to get? There have been some big name guys that have gone, but there's still some guys out there that can be signed. I don't know if any of you guys got names out there that you are looking forward to or hoping for, or kind of fingers crossed wish list. I have been saying it, and I keep pounding the table for Calais Campbell. I want the Cowboys to sign Calais Campbell. Listen, last year, Calais Campbell signed a deal, 1 year deal, $2 million. And, I know he's going to be turning 39 years old this season. And there's some people that'll sit there and they'll say, listen, Calais Campbell's too old. He's washed. All I'll tell you is to look up the tape and look up the grades. Calais Campbell was the #1 rated defensive tackle last year against the run at 38 years old. Calais Campbell absolutely can still play. unless he fell off a cliff between last year and this year, he absolutely can still play. And $2 million for a guy like Calais Campbell, who would come in and be immediately our best run stopper in the middle of that defensive line, I think it's just a no-brainer. I'm not sure why the Cowboys haven't already done it. I don't know why they haven't jumped all over that deal. I would be on that like white on bread. It doesn't make any sense to me not to get that deal done, not to have him brought in. But did Kansas lose? Kansas lost to Arkansas. Number 7 seed Kansas loses to number 10 seed Arkansas. Has that gone final, SoCal? That is definitely an upset. I wouldn't say it's a huge upset. It's a 7 and a 10 seed, but definitely an upset. Yeah, final. Wow, what was the score on that? I'm curious to know the score on that. But at cornerback, Rasul Douglas still available. Is Rasul Douglas? I believe so. Khalil Mack, I think, yes, is still out there. 79-72. Wow. Down goes Kansas. Crazy. Yeah, I believe Rasul Douglas is still available, as well as Khalil Mack. I know he is. Let's see. Rasul Douglas. Yeah, he's among Mari Cooper, Rasul Douglas still among top 100 free agents. So yeah, he is still available out there. So I wouldn't be against picking a guy like him up. I think the Cowboys might be in the spot where they're going to draft a defensive back in one of the early rounds. Might even come out and be a surprise pick in the first round. I don't know that I would be super happy with that, because I think that the Cowboys' moves that they have made in free agency have been a lot more towards the defensive side of the ball than it has been the offensive side of the ball. And I still think that the Cowboys lack explosive playmakers outside of CeeDee Lamb. And I think that's where they really need to go in this offense, whether it be adding a couple of veteran free agents or whether it go to the draft, preferably the draft, just because I would like to get younger on the offensive side of the ball, because younger is cheaper. You don't have to invest that much money, whereas you can go and get a guy, like a Calais Campbell, which we saw Miami do last year at $2 million. He could come in and be one of the best defensive tackles on our team, whereas you're not going to be able to do that and go out and sign a $2 million wide receiver and have them come out and be your number 2 guy and be putting up numbers that are going to, take pressure off CeeDee Lamb in that offense. Nor are you going to be able to go out and get a running back that's going to be an impact running back for that price either. I feel like you can fill a lot of those holes, as Mike would refer to, the meat and potatoes of this roster on the defensive side of the ball, a little bit cheaper than you can, offensively. How about Mike Hilton? You know what? I don't know if he can sign. Let me look that up and see. But guys, I want to know where do you think that this Cowboys team right now? Obviously I'm out here and I'm stating my opinions and talking about where I'm at. No, Mike Hilton is actually with the Titans. It says to join. Yeah, Mike Hilton's with the Titans, so he is not out there anymore. It looks like he actually signed a deal with the Titans. Cincinnati Bengals. Maybe he hasn't signed with the Titans. No, he has not. Anyway, where are you guys thinking that the Dallas Cowboys need to make their moves at? It's in terms of free agency, looking at what we've done right now, looking at what's out there in the draft, what's kind of being predicted. Some of the guys that are being talked about in that first to second round, even into the third round. What are you looking at this Cowboys team? What would you like the Dallas Cowboys to address that has not been addressed? What position? I'll tell you mine. For me, it's still the interior of this defensive line. I don't think that they have been I just don't think that they've done a great job at doing that. Solomon, that we got from the Jets, not a great run stopper, not a guy who I think is going to be able to play significant snaps or who you want to play significant snaps. Yeah, DT, defensive tackle, and cornerback. I absolutely agree with that. Steve, you bring back Amari Cooper. You know, a lot of people have talked about that. I just don't know that Jerry is the. I feel like there was a little friction there with Amari Cooper on the way out. And exactly what that friction was, you know, there was the whole comment about, you know, and this was never confirmed, but there was a lot of people that said that Amari Cooper referred to Dak Prescott as the Black Kirk Cousins. I don't know if that's true, but I just feel like there was definitely something that kind of went awry in that locker room that got Amari Cooper sent out. And usually, when those kind of things happen, you don't really see teams kind of reunited. So me personally, I don't see Amari Cooper coming back in. Listen, I'd take him. But I don't think that's going to happen. Rick says DT and definitely another cornerback. I agree with that. I think we're all kind of on the same page there. The defensive tackle position right now for the Dallas Cowboys leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, signing Osa Odigizua was a good pickup. I was glad that they re-signed him, but you know, the facts are he's a better pass rusher than he is a run stopper. We need a run stopper next to Osa on that defensive line. Mozzie Smith has not been that guy thus far. You know, and just don't see that changing. I think Mozzie is, you know, in a couple of years is off of this roster. I don't see them. I just don't see it. You know, I saw slight improvements last year, but I still see big flaws in his game, and he struggles. You know, he struggles against the run, and you know, graded out just as bad last year, pretty much as he did his first year. Hadn't gotten really any better. And again, Solomon Thomas, not a guy that I'm going to hang my hat on. He's not a guy who I'm like, oh yeah, we got this. You know, he's going to be great. You know, we don't have depth right there, and we don't have a lot of talent. You know, outside of Osa. Again, like I said, Osa's best, you know, attributes is in the pass rush. He's a better pass rusher than he is a run stopper. Steve says we need playmakers at running back and wide receiver and a killer on defense, opposite of Parsons, and a real solid backup QB that's capable of taking Dak's spot. Now, that is a good question, or that not a good question, a good comment. For those of you in the chat, who is a quarterback in this draft that you could see the Dallas Cowboys taking and sitting in behind Dak Prescott and maybe developing over the next, you know, couple years? Obviously, Dak's still on contract, and we know he's going to be the starting quarterback at least for this year. And I would probably say even the next year into 2026. But who is a quarterback that you guys have your eyes on that you wouldn't mind seeing the Dallas Cowboys take and maybe try to develop? I've heard some of the names get thrown out there. Quinn Ewers is a name that's been getting thrown out there. I'm not real hot on him, and not just because I'm a Texas Tech fan and I don't like anything Longhorns. I hadn't really seen it out of him. Jackson Dart is a name I would absolutely be around. Jackson Dart, is it Ole Miss? He's the quarterback for Ole Miss, right? Jackson Dart is definitely a name that I would be on board with. Another name I think actually, but I think he's probably going to go in one of the upper rounds is Dylan Gabriel, quarterback from Oregon. I like him. I like some of the things I've seen from him, but I think he's going to probably go a little bit earlier than we would want to go. The thing is, he's a guy who a lot of people were saying that they had him in the fourth round area, Dylan Gabriel. Now there's some people saying he could go as high as a second. I don't think that the Dallas Cowboys would probably want to go that high in drafting a quarterback. If they're going to draft a quarterback, my guess is they're doing it in the fourth, fifth round. Kyle McCord, I think, from Syracuse, another interesting name. Guy who would definitely be a later round guy. But I think that the most important thing is that the Dallas Cowboys are going to draft. They're going to draft a quarterback. Kyle McCord out of Syracuse is the guy who was talking about. But I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to draft Syracuse quarterback that beat my Canes, me and Mike Tag's college team. Yeah, no, and he's shown some he's shown some potential. A guy that could possibly that I think could sit back there and develop behind Dak Prescott. But I think the Cowboys, obviously, with the departure of Cooper Rush not being on the team anymore, the Cowboys declining to pick up Trey Lance's option. I think the Cowboys are definitely going to be drafting a quarterback. It's time. They need to, if nothing else, to develop a backup quarterback and have a backup quarterback, a guy that can come in and step in should Dak Prescott go down with another injury. But also because I think that we really need to start thinking about Dak Prescott's replacement. Listen, he started to have some injuries. These things have started to pile up, and I don't think you can ever be proactive enough on that side of the ball when you're talking about drafting and developing a quarterback. Like, listen, if you've got a guy who you have zero question marks against, a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, I think would fall in that category. A Joe Burrow, a guy who's a little bit younger, obviously. Guys like that you just, some of the guys that are just, they're young, they're established, proven. I think those guys are the kind of guys that, you don't necessarily really have to worry about trying to develop that quarterback. But I think Dak Prescott, you're starting to, you're starting to have some question marks about not necessarily maybe the talent level, but when you combine some of the poor playoff performances with the fact that he's getting a little bit older, with the fact that he's started to have some injuries pile up, I think that you'd be doing yourself a disservice not to, start to look at drafting his replacement, or at least getting somebody behind him to develop. Will Howard, Ohio State QB, behind Dak. Now, is Will Howard the guy who had one of the worst combines on history? I don't know. I don't know for sure if that's him. I could be wrong. There was a quarterback, though, and they showed his combine. I saw a snippet of his combine. And, it was one of those ones where they're throwing drills and they're just throwing to guys, nobody's padded. They're throwing to wide receivers. And this dude was overthrowing, underthrowing. Just a terrible showing. I'm not 100% sure if that was him, but that's that quarterback was terrible. They said he had one of the worst combine showings possibly in history. And would his draft stock fall from that? And most people were agreeing, yes, it would fall. But outside of Will Greer, we need a backup quarterback. Cooper Rush is gone. Yeah, we gotta have him. So Rick says yes. So that was him in the combine that had that terrible showing in the combine. Yeah. Obviously played well in college, but when you're having a bad pro day, or you're having a bad combine, or you have a bad showing in front of NFL scouts who are looking to draft you, that's never a good thing. Make your draft stock. But if your draft stock falls, and maybe you just had an off day, maybe it was the pressure, maybe whatever it may be, and maybe that's a good thing for another team. Draft stock falls and they snag a guy who then goes out and just proves that it was bad work. Not everybody is workout warriors. Not everybody is great practice quarterbacks. I will say this, though, if it was because of the pressure, the last thing the Dallas Cowboys need is to draft a quarterback who folds under pressure, because it's just the last thing we need. It feels like at times this entire Dallas Cowboys team has shown a lot of times that the moment is too big, and we've just seen some pretty poor performances in the playoffs. So yeah, we definitely wouldn't sign a 7th round or undrafted free agent. Yeah, are you talking about the quarterback? Are you talking about Will Howard? Hey, Kelly, another free available. Would you bring in Zadarius Smith from the Eagles at edge? I wouldn't be against. I wouldn't be against looking at that. I do think we still need somebody on the opposite side of Micah Parsons. And I know we got Sam Williams. I almost called him Sam Smith. That's a singer, not the player. I know we got Sam Williams coming back. This year he'll be back. And, and he's shown flashes. of having being that guy. We also got Nealand that we drafted last year. That showed some flashes. I don't know if either one of those guys though can actually be the guy that we're needed. I mean, look, we got Fowler. And that guy has gotten double-digit sacks the last was it 3 seasons in a row? I think 3 seasons in a row where he's had 10 plus sacks in each season. I like that signing. In fact, I'd go as far to say that that's probably our best signing in free agency that we've got. Just because of the fact that he's shown the ability to be able to get double-digit sacks, to get consistent pressure. And I mean, if you think about it, DeMarcus Lawrence has been the primary pass rusher playing on the other side of Micah Parsons. That hasn't really rushed the passer that well. Gets pressures, good against the run, but DeMarcus Lawrence has not been racking up the sacks. And so having a guy opposite Parsons that's a double-digit sack guy is going to be a good thing. It's going to free him up. I mean, looking back at DeMarcus Lawrence's sack total, now I understand he was injured last year, but the last time that he had double-digit sacks was in 2018 when he had 10.5 sacks. Since then, he had 5 sacks, 6.5, 3, 6, 4, and 3. Micah Parsons has really, kind of lacked that consistent, pass rusher on the other side of that defensive line that can get after the quarterback and kind of free up and take advantage of the fact that when Micah Parsons is doubled, that we're going to have a guy that can go out there and a guy that can, that can create that pressure. So, I definitely think the Cowboys could use another good pass rusher on the other side of him. Who that may be, I'm not sure, but I mean, I'm loving Fowler signing. I think he'll instantly be a guy that can create that kind of pressure that we've been looking for. I just saw a like go up on the top of the screen. It's only one like that we got here. So I'm assuming that we haven't had a bunch of people come in here and hit that like button. But it looks like we got, my eyes are 254 people in the chat right now. So if this is your first time coming to the show, participating, jumping in the chat, I sure would appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button. Each person go and hit that like and subscribe. So over the past couple of weeks, we have picked up over, I believe it's close to 300 new subscribers. And every time we pick up a new subscriber, every time somebody comes to this channel, every time somebody likes this content, you like what you're seeing, you guys are helping us out, helping us with the algorithm, helping us get out there a little bit more into YouTube, helping us be able to grow this channel and do things for you guys. I love the fact that we get to chop it up and do this with you guys every week, sometimes multiple times a week if you're Mike Tag. But I'm loving it, what we do and what this channel has provided for opportunities for myself. I know Mike to get out into the Cowboys community and chop it up with you guys. So if you're a first timer to the channel, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel, get those notifications. Listen, we've got a lot of great content and a lot of great content continuing to come. Listen, when the season gets going, the schedule is released, we're going to do a live NFL draft. When the draft is held, we're going to do that live here. We're going to be on here live, giving you instant reaction to each and every pick that the Dallas Cowboys make. I think we're actually just going to do the first round, which would just be that first night. So just that first round, but we'll give you reactions to each one of the picks, all 32 picks from each team, give you an instant breakdown on the players, what we think of those picks, what we're thinking about with the Dallas Cowboys pick. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of cool things coming. When we hit 5,000 subscribers this year, we're currently at about 3,600, I think, subscribers. When we hit 5,000 subscribers, 2 of our lucky subscribers, actually 1 lucky subscriber, is going to win 2 club seat Dallas Cowboys tickets, courtesy of my boy, Mike Tag. And you will be able to take either myself to the game with you, Mike Tag to the game with you, or you could say to hell with both of you. I'm taking my girlfriend. I got a baddie that I'm going to take to the game with me, or I'm going to take one of my good friends. I don't want to take one of you guys. So you can take whoever you want, but you're getting 2 tickets to a Cowboys game. club level seats. And let me tell you, I go to at least one of these games every year with Mike Tag. The seats are awesome. Nice, big plush leather seats. It's nice. Nice club seats. Can't beat them. So anyway, thank you again for every single person that tunes in, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Now, on to some other Cowboys news. Michael Gallup, former Dallas Cowboys, signed with the Washington Commanders. That's not Dallas Cowboys news because he's a commander, and this is not a show about the Commanders. It's a show about the Dallas Cowboys, but it's a former Dallas Cowboy who had retired, from NFL and decided that he wants to make a comeback. How would you guys have felt about bringing back a Michael Gallup? Because that had been kind of floated out there. And I'm going to be honest with you. Listen, I love me some Michael Gallup, the toe tap magician. He made probably some of the best athletic, toe tapping grabs on the sideline, corner of the end zone that I've seen while watching the Dallas Cowboys, of any receiver that the Dallas Cowboys had. I mean, just some of those plays that he made were just spectacular. I used to call him the toe tap magician. But that being said, excuse me, I don't think Michael Gallup would bring the kind of pop that we were looking for in a wide receiver. It will be interesting to see what he does with a young quarterback in Jaden Daniels, though, and a good young play caller in Cliff Kingsbury there with the Washington Commanders. But me personally, I'm fine with him joining the Commanders. It doesn't really bother me. I don't really think he's going to have much impact with that team. But it does kind of bother me just a little bit whenever I see former Dallas Cowboys going to play with a rival team. What is going on? Cuts by Jones, Culture at Cuts. Y'all, if y'all don't know this man, he is the sponsor of the show. Makes these beautiful cuts like the one that I got right behind me on this shoulder right here, the Kelly K9 cut. Makes a lot of beautiful cuts, but he's also got a YouTube channel that if you guys have not subscribed to, you need to go to Culture of Cuts. He's got his barbecuing. He's got his cuts that he does on there, his Cowboys stuff. He's had George Teague in his cave. He had one of our good homeboys that came all the way over from Germany, and Frankie that comes to our tailgates all the time, and the Cowboys Cave tailgate, which, by the way, when the schedule release comes out, we will announce where we will be doing this tailgate at. It's going to be at Dallas, obviously, but which game it's going to be. If you have not come to one of these tailgates, let me just tell you right now, what the hell you been doing? What in the hell have you been doing? Because I'm telling you, the tailgates that we throw for the Cowboys Cave tailgates, you've got food. Some of the best food you're going to eat. You've got beer. You've got liquor. You've got Cowboys Nation. You've got Mike Tag. You've got myself. You've got Cuts. You've got all the big dogs in the house. And we even had Rowdy come out to the tailgate last year. One tailgate in a day. It's a beautiful thing. Every time we go out there, it is just so much fun, man. And I love getting to meet each and every one of you and getting to know each and every one of you a little bit more. It just makes things that much more fun, making these connections that always last a lifetime. But if you don't know Cuts, you haven't went and subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Culture of Cuts. Class act dude, man. And whenever I come down to the 210 San Antonio, my man treats me like a king, rolls out the red carpet, and he's got one of the better, garage bars that I've ever seen. Always has cold keg beer on tap. I mean, who doesn't need a friend like that in life? Who doesn't need a friend like that in life where you can go to his garage bar, see all these beautiful cuts, autographed by former Dallas Cowboys greats, and just wash it all down, take it all in with some cold keg beer and some great Texas barbecue. That's the kind of friend we all need in life, baby. Anyway, I just wanted to say, this is one of the first times I think that not one of the first times. I think I have one other. I don't run the show solo too many times. I don't. But you guys are great. I love the support. I love seeing you guys up in the chat. I love talking with you guys. I love answering questions. You guys are great, man. You show up each and every week, and it means a lot to me. It really does, man. 267 people in the chat. Sometimes I pop in here. We do these things. They're kind of unscripted. I knew a little bit of what I was going to talk about, but ultimately I'm just coming in here and going off the cuff. And you guys make it easier because you're interacting in the chat with me. You're talking with me. And you make my job a whole lot easier. But I love this. I really do, man. I love coming and talking with you guys. You make my week and my Wednesdays and today, Thursday. You make them worthwhile. We didn't do the show yesterday because of the fact that we had the blizzard here in Omaha. Mike's on a cruise, so I had internet outages, power outages and stuff. It was nuts. But we came in here and wanted to do the show today. Wanted to come in. And Mike said, you know what, do you want to bring in a co-host? And I said, you know what? I don't need a co-host. I'm going to do this thing solo. I'm going to run it freestyle. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to chop it up with these guys. We're going to talk Cowboys football, and it's going to be a thing of beauty. But listen, does anybody else have anything that what do we get here? I'm down to come grill with cuts. Yeah, absolutely, man. If you haven't done that, if you haven't done it already, you absolutely got to. It is a thing of beauty. I appreciate you guys. It's a thing of beauty though, man. And thanks, Rick. I appreciate it, man. Listen, if you guys, I don't know what time zone everybody's at, but listen, if you want to do me one more favor, I'm only asking for one thing. 9:10 this evening at 9:10, Texas Tech is tipping off against UNC Wilmington, man. Again, like I said at the beginning of the show, if you don't know, now you know. It's Cowboys football, and then it's Texas Tech basketball. They're like right there. I am one of the biggest Texas Tech basketball fans you're going to find. Super pumped and hyped about this team. I really, really, really believe that the floor of this Texas Tech basketball team is the Sweet 16. That's the floor. I think the ceiling is the national championship, and I truly believe that this team can get it done, and I think that they can win the national championship this year. I think they've got stellar coaching. They have got great perimeter shooting. They've got interior defense. They've got, the one thing that I will say gives them problems is if there is a dominant big on the inside, sometimes tends to bully, our interior defense around, but ultimately this team has got it all. They've got defense, they've got offense, they've got talent, length, athleticism, everything that you need to win. So if you guys would just do me the favor, watch the game tonight, root for Texas Tech, rec them Texas Tech, when they win. I'm not going to say if they win. When they win, your boy's going to drive up to Wichita, Kansas on Saturday and see them live and support them live at their next opponent, which would be either Drake or Missouri, depending on who wins that. But you guys come and give me a little bit of support. All right. Kelly, I remember Texas Tech's loss in the national championship to Virginia. Great game, Virginia. I was at that game. They held that game, and it was in Minnesota, and it was actually at the Vikings football stadium. And even though we lost, it was still one of the greatest memories I had, man. Went down there. Texas Tech fans absolutely turned out in droves. There was a bar. There were several bars that were just for Texas Tech fans. So it was all nothing but Texas Tech. There was Texas Tech Red Raiders in there, just packed. All you can see is red. And then they had bars that were just for Virginia fans. And it was awesome, man. You just walked up and down the streets and you'd see all the Virginia fans, and then you'd have all the Tech fans going to the bars, having a great time. ESPN was set up, just a super cool experience. And even though they lost in overtime, it was probably the top sports moment or top sporting event that I've ever been at, even with the loss, just because of the atmosphere, the people, just being able to take it all in. It was just such a huge moment to be a part of. So really fun, man. And I'm hoping that I get to see my team one day, win a championship and cut down the nets on that big Monday. So, but I love March Madness. It's one of my favorite times of the year. Even if my team is not in it, I still love it. I still love to watch them just because there's so much action in basketball. It's just, it's a back and forth, and there's momentum swings, and there's, it's just, there's nothing like it, in my opinion. There's just nothing like it. So, I picked Texas Tech to win tonight. That's what I'm talking about, Rick. Texas Tech was there, very close game. Yeah, it was a close game. It was a very close game. That game could have went either way. And again, like I said, even with the loss, it was still one of my greatest memories, man, as a sports fan, just being able to watch my team competing in national championship. And, we all know as Cowboys fans, man, we haven't been able to see our team hoist the Lombardi trophy in what has been 95, is that 30 years this year in 2025? 30 years. Holy shit, man. Some of you haven't even ever seen it yet. I'm just curious real quick in the chat before we bounce out of here. How many of you actually watched and saw the Dallas Cowboys and remember the Dallas Cowboys winning their last national championship, their last Super Bowl? Because, God, 30 years. 30 years. It's been that damn long. I remember when I first started watching the Cowboys, and it was that Super Bowl party, 1992. And my mom was throwing a Super Bowl party, and I just remember watching them win, loved it, came back, won it again in 93, and I'm sitting there, and then we didn't win it in 94, but we were right there on the edge, then we won it in 95. And I'm sitting there just thinking, man, the Cowboys are going to win Super Bowls every single year. This is being a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. This is the easiest thing in the world. It's like being a Yankees fan. It's like being a Lakers fan. They just win titles. That's what they do, is they win championships. And now it's been this long drought. I'm sitting here and I'm, about to be turning 45 years old this year, and have not seen a title since I was 15 years old. 15. It's crazy. It is really, truly, truly crazy. I saw 4 championships. That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's funny that there is a portion of this Dallas Cowboys fan base that has never seen these Dallas Cowboys advance past the divisional round. And I never thought that would happen. I really didn't. I thought the Cowboys would always, I know we all know that there's going to be bad seasons. You know how the NFL is. There'll be bad seasons. But it's just a long damn time to go between a championship. And I don't, I think the discouraging thing for me with this Cowboys, not try to get too negative. I want to keep things positive, lighthearted. But, going into this year, I don't think we're going to win a Super Bowl this year. I don't think it's a Super Bowl roster. I don't think this coaching staff is experienced enough. Now, it's not to say that we couldn't maybe build some things and make some positive moves and start moving towards the right direction. But as of right now, for the majority, there's a lot of these coaches that are unknown. Guys that we really, Schottenheimer is an unknown as a head coach. We don't know how he's going to be with these players. We don't know how he's going to react to certain situations. All we can do is guess, and make an educated guess. And I just, right now, looking at this Cowboys team and the entire coaching staff, and the roster, and the moves that we've made, I don't feel great about this team. I look at this team as, and again, there's still moves that could be made, but right now, look, this team is about a 9-win team, 10 being the ceiling. I think 10 would be a great accomplishment, honestly, for this team. I think 10 wins would be great. I don't know. 8-9 wins probably for this team. They've got a brutal schedule. Haven't made a lot of significant impact moves. I feel that right now, where the Cowboys are at compared to where they were last year when fully healthy, I feel like we're about the same. I don't really feel like we've made significant improvements, and I don't think that's good enough to compete with the rest of the NFC. So it's a little discouraging, when we're talking about 30 years and that the Cowboys don't move with a little more sense of urgency. Jerry Jones is not getting any younger. If I don't know how he feels or what he thinks, but if I'm 135 years old, I know that that mortality is something that's real. I know that we don't all live forever, even though I think that Jerry Jones is probably has enough money that he could get himself cryogenically frozen and then maybe unfrozen in 10, 15 years. And while he's frozen, he could probably still run the Cowboys, getting unfrozen to make critical moves. Like, I just fucking around here. But listen, Jerry Jones has got to understand that he's getting older. He's no fool. He knows that he can't live forever. And I just really feel like that the older you get, the more that you really start to move with a sense of urgency. do things that you want to do before you leave this earth, and accomplish things that you want to accomplish, because you know that, this life is temporary. And if I'm Jerry Jones, he said it before. What confuses me is that Jerry Jones has literally said that there is no check, there is no amount that I would not write on a check to win me another championship. But his moves and actions don't align with what he's saying there. Because if that was the case, why don't the Dallas Cowboys move aggressively like a lot of these other teams do? Because there's many of these other teams that move with the aggressiveness that this Dallas Cowboys franchise just doesn't seem to do. And it's just, it's discouraging as a fan, to see that. Because, I used to think that Jerry Jones was a guy who wanted to win at all costs, and he would do anything in his power to win. And now I just don't really think that. I don't believe that. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe Stephen Jones has more control than we all, think that he has, which, I think there's a lot of people that have speculated that and said that it's more Stephen than Jerry now. But even at that, Jerry's still the owner. Jerry is still the GM. He's got ultimate say. He could tell his son to fuck off. He could tell Steven to fuck off. He could fire Steven if he wanted to. He could tell Steven, you know what? Get your shit and get out. I'm trying to win a 6th Super Bowl before I die, and we're not going to do it being a bunch of cheap asses, being afraid to make moves, being afraid to be aggressive. Like, that's not going to win us a championship. So I wish he would snap out of it. I really do. I wish that he would. But unfortunately, the Dallas Cowboys have kind of shown us who they are over the last several years, and it's just been a team that's been a little bit gun shy when it comes to making moves. It's been a team that's kind of taken the worst end of trades. I mean, the fact that we traded a number 4 to get Mingo from the Carolina Panthers. There's not another team in the NFL that you can convince me was going to give up a 4th round draft pick to get that guy. I just did, and getting rid of Amari Cooper for a 5th rounder, only to see him go to the Buffalo Bills for a 3rd rounder 2 years later, So I don't know. Jerry Jones just ain't good at this GM thing, but hell, what are you going to do? You can't dwell on the bullshit. You can't sit here and bang your head against the wall and think about the negatives. You got to hope for the positives and hope that, that this Dallas Cowboys team, the coaching staff, and every one of them, that they all prove me wrong and that they prove us wrong. Because I've said this many times. Nobody wants to be wrong when it comes to this Dallas Cowboys team more than me. Nobody wants to be wrong. Now, I'm sitting here telling you that I think the Cowboys are a 9-win team this year. I would give anything to be wrong and have this team go out and win 12 games and make a run to the NFC title game. I would give anything to be shocked like that. I would do circles around the block going and telling people how wrong I am. I do not want to be right about that. I really do. But, it is what it is, Cowboys Nation. But listen, hey, thanks for all of you joining me tonight. I really do appreciate it again. On your way out the door, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Do that for your boy. Enjoy yourself some college basketball over the next couple of days. Don't really see the Cowboys being very active in the next few days or making any big moves anytime soon. Maybe the Micah Parsons contract gets done here before we come to our next show. But we will be back on next week. We will have our Fan of the Month for the month of March. Moose Loose, Hall of Fame. It's going to be our guy. The Moose is coming on here. Not Moose Darrell Johnston. It's one of our subscribers. Going to be the Fan of the Month. He's going to get hooked up with a cut by Cuts by Jones. It's a Cowboys helmet. Nice little wood cut to put in your man cave. And then the following week, we will be starting again for April, our contest. For Fan of the Month, if you follow me on Twitter, I will put out a tweet. It'll be for Fan of the Month. Listen, all you have to do is just show us that you're a subscriber, retweet the post, like the post, comment with a screenshot showing you're a subscriber. We will do a random drawing. That person gets a chance to come on the show, host with me and Mike, chop it up, air your grievances, let Cowboys Nation get to know you a little bit better. But in the meantime, Cowboys Nation, Thanks for coming in. Thanks for chopping it up. It was a great show. The chat was going off as always. You guys gave me material to go off of even when I didn't have any, so I'm loving it. My voice is starting to fade. I've been having this little cold thing going on for a couple of weeks. My voice is just kind of in and out. And I'm going to need that voice for this weekend if I'm going to Wichita to cheer for my Texas Tech Red Raiders. And if I'm going to be up here yelling and screaming at the top of my lungs tonight. But Cowboys Nation, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you all have a great weekend. Be safe. And until next time, peace out, Cowboys Nation. Have a good night. Well, I said have a good night.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.